Months after Kamalu sacrificed his life, Adana felt a change within her. She was expecting a child. The villagers were overjoyed, seeing it as a sign of hope and renewal. Adana was always happy as she prepared for the arrival of her son. One warm morning, as the sun bathed Oduma in golden light, Adana went into labor. The village gathered to support her. After hours of anticipation, a healthy baby boy was born. They named him Chijioke, meaning a God's gift. His first cry echoed through the village, bringing smiles to all. Adana cared for Chijioke with all her heart. She told him stories of his father and the love that saved their village. As Chijioke grew, he showed a special bond with the forest. He would play near the trees, laughing as the leaves seemed to dance with him. One day, while playing, Chijioke found a small, glowing stone beneath a tree. He brought it to Adana, who recognized it as a gift from the forest. Elder Ikinga explained, "This stone holds the forest's blessing. It chooses those with a pure heart." As Chijioke grew, so did the village. The crops flourished, the well never ran dry, and the villagers lived in harmony. They honored the forest and its spirits, remembering the sacrifices made. Adana, with Chijioke by her side, led the village with wisdom and love. One evening, as Adana sat by the forest, she whispered, "Kamalu, our son carries your spirit. Thank you for the love you gave us." The wind rustled the leaves, as if answering her. As Chijioke grew, he became more curious about the man whose sacrifice had ensured his family's survival. "Mother," Chijioke asked one evening, as they sat by the fire, "what was father like?" Adana smiled softly and said, "Your father was brave, selfless, and kind. He loved this village and loved you even before you were born. He was willing to give everything so we could have a future." Chijioke leaned closer, his heart full of pride. "Do you think he's proud of me?" Adana placed a hand on his shoulder. "I know he is. Every step you take, every decision you make, he's with you and also guiding you." That night, as Chijioke slept, he had a vivid dream. He was walking through the forest, the air thick with mist. Ahead of him, a figure appeared, glowing faintly. It was Kamalu. Though Chijioke had never seen his father in person, he recognized him instantly. "Father!" Chijioke called out. Kamalu turned, his face kind and strong. "Chijioke, my son," he said, his voice carrying warmth. "You have grown into a fine young man." Tears welled in Chijioke's eyes. "I've always wanted to meet you. And I have always been with you," Kamalu replied. "But now, I must warn you. The forest peace is fragile. A time will come when you must make a choice that will determine the future of Oduma." "What choice?" Chijioke asked, his voice trembling. Kamalu smiled sadly. "You will know when the time comes. Trust your heart, and remember that you carry the strength of our family." Before Chijioke could say more, the dream faded, leaving him with a deep sense of purpose. As Chijioke grew older, the villagers began to look to him for guidance. Adana, who had led the village for years, saw the wisdom in her son and began to step back, allowing him to take on more responsibility. One day, a group of hunters returned to the village with troubling news. "The forest is restless," they said. "The animals are avoiding us, and strange markings have appeared on the trees." Chijipoke decided to investigate. He and a small group of brave villagers ventured into the forest. As they walked deeper, the air grew colder, and the whispers grew louder. They found trees marked with strange, glowing symbols, the same symbols Chijioke had seen in his dream. "Something is stirring," Chijioke said. "We must consult the shrine." That evening, Chijioke visited the restored shrine, accompanied by Elder Aiknor and Adana. As they placed offerings on the altar, the air grew still, and a faint glow surrounded the shrine. A voice echoed, deep and resonant. "Chijioke, son of Kamalu, the balance is shifting. A darkness stirs beyond the forest, threatening to consume all. You must protect Oduma. Chijioke stepped forward, his heart pounding. What must I do? Venture to the Cavern of Echoes, the voice said. There, you will find the Spirit's Veil, an ancient artifact that holds the power to seal the darkness. But beware, the journey will test your strength, courage, and heart. Determined to fulfill his destiny, Chijioke prepared for the journey. Adana, though fearful for her son, knew she could not stop him. You are your father's son, she said, hugging him tightly. Be strong, and know that I am always with you. Chijioke set out the next morning, carrying a staff carved with the symbols of the forest and the pendant his father had left behind. The villagers gathered to see him off, offering prayers and blessings. The journey to the Cavern of Echoes was treacherous. Chijioke crossed roaring rivers, climbed jagged cliffs, and navigated through dense, shadowy woods. Each night, he felt the presence of unseen eyes, but he pressed on, his father's words echoing in his mind. After days of traveling, Chijioke finally reached the Cavern of Echoes. Its entrance was guarded by two massive statues, their faces worn with age. As he stepped inside, a deep hum resonated through the cavern, and his footsteps echoed endlessly. At the heart of the cavern, he found the Spirit's Veil, a shimmering, translucent cloth that seemed to pulse with life. As he reached for it, shadowy figures emerged from the walls. They were the spirits of the forest, their forms dark and menacing. You seek the veil, one spirit said. But are you worthy? I am Chijioke, son of Kamalu, he replied. I will do whatever it takes to protect my village. The spirits tested him, creating illusions of his greatest fears. He saw his mother in danger, his village in ruins, and himself failing. But he stood firm, remembering his father's words and the love of his family. Finally, the spirits withdrew, and the veil floated into his hands. You have proven yourself, the spirit said. Use the veil wisely, and remember that the forest watches. Chijioke returned to Oduma as a hero. With the spirit's veil, he performed a sacred ritual at the shrine, sealing the darkness and restoring balance to the forest. The villagers celebrated his bravery, and Adana wept with pride. From that day on, Chijioke became a symbol of hope and courage, just as his father had been. Under his leadership, Oduma thrived, and the bond between the village and the forest grew stronger. Years passed, and Chijioke's leadership brought peace and prosperity to Oduma. The villagers no longer feared the forest but treated it with respect, knowing it held both mystery and power. Chijioke often shared stories of his father, Kamalu, ensuring his sacrifice was never forgotten. Adana, now older, watched with pride as her son grew into a man of wisdom and strength. She often sat at the edge of the forest, speaking softly to the wind, feeling Kamalu's presence. One evening, as Chijioke stood at the shrine, he felt a familiar presence. The wind rustled, and Kamalu's voice whispered, "Well done, my son. You have honored our family and protected our people. I am proud of you." Chijioke smiled, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, father. I will always carry your legacy." Years went by, and under Chijioke's guidance, Oduma grew into a peaceful and thriving village. The people no longer feared the forest. Instead, they respected it, knowing it was filled with both power and mystery. Chijioke often told stories about his father, Kamalu, so that the villagers would always remember the sacrifice he made to save them. Adana, now older, watched her son with pride. She saw how wise and strong he had become. Often, she would sit at the edge of the forest, feeling the gentle breeze and speaking quietly as though Kamalu could hear her. One evening, Chijioke came home from the shrine with important news. "Mother," he said, "the spirits have spoken. They are no longer angry. They are at peace, and the forest is now our friend." Adana's face lit up with a warm smile. "Your father would be so proud of you," she said softly. One bright morning, Adana passed away in her sleep. Her face was calm and peaceful, as if she was finally going to meet Kamalu again. The villagers mourned her death, but they also celebrated her life. They believed she was now reunited with her beloved husband, Kamalu. Chijioke, now a father, stood by her grave with his young son. He looked at the boy and said, "Your grandparents' love and sacrifice gave us this life. We honor them by being brave and kind." The forest, once feared, had become a symbol of peace and balance. The villagers often felt the presence of Kamalu and Adana in the gentle wind. They believed the couple watched over them, protecting and blessing their descendants. And so, life in Odume continued. The story of Kamalu, Adana, and Chijioke became a cherished legend, a reminder of love, strength, and the power of family. Their legacy was forever a part of the village and the heart of the forest.